and how you're doing. It's been 3 years since you were released from prison.
Yes.
And what has your life been like for the last 3 years?
It's odd. You know, whenever you get out of prison, people think you're just going to be excited and happy that you're out. And you are. But at the same time, there's a lot of shock and trauma and everything else that goes along with that. I'd been in solitary confinement for almost 10 years before I was released. You know, the last time I'd seen a computer was, I believe, 1986 or 1988. And back then it was basically a glorified typewriter for rich people. It wasn't connected to the internet or anything. I'd never used a cell phone or an ATM card or any of that.
So it was a major adjustment.
Huge. And I'm still adjusting.
Many people say that you and Jesse and Jason became targets of the police, or by the police. You were targeted. Why do you think that was the case? Why do you think they rushed to judgment, if you will?
We came from a very hardcore, fundamentalist, right-wing Bible Belt town where anyone who didn't fit in with, you know, the local ideology or political climate or anything else was...
Or even appearance, right?
Exactly. The way I dressed, the music I listened to, the books I read. You know, as evidence at the trial, they actually introduced things like Stephen King novels. They said that was proof that I was satanic.
And when you heard the verdict in that courtroom of guilty, I understand it was really an out-of-body experience for you in many ways.
The only thing I can describe it as is if you've ever been beaten. You know, if you've ever been punched in the head, a lot of times it doesn't always immediately register as pain. It's more like a bright flash of light and a loud noise, and you're so disoriented you can barely keep your feet up under you. And that's what it's like hearing yourself sentenced to death. It's like being beaten repeatedly in the head. I was sentenced to die not once and not twice, but 3 times. They sentenced me to die over and over and over again.
The documentary Paradise Lost, the HBO doc, came out in 1996. And it seemed as if that really started the movement of people questioning why you were convicted of this crime, why you were serving time. Do you think that's when this all started?
Absolutely. You know, I always tell people that this case is nothing out of the ordinary. Stuff like this happens to people all the time in the judicial system. The only thing that made our case exceptional was they had cameras in the courtroom. They caught the trial on film. If not for that, they would have killed me and this would have been swept under the rug and completely forgotten about. But due to the fact that they got it on film, it spurred people on to do everything from have bake sales and benefit concerts to putting together websites. And every time there was a court hearing, people would show up at the Capitol to hold signs and protest. That was what really got the ball rolling that saved my life.
And all these celebrities, as I mentioned, people like Eddie Vedder, Johnny Depp, the director Peter Jackson, they all gravitated towards your case and they became crusaders for you. What was it about your case that made them want to really step in and take serious action, like Peter Jackson hiring investigators, doing all kinds of things on your behalf?
I think it was a couple of different things. One with people like Eddie Vedder and Johnny Depp. You know, not only did they come to our aid in the case, but over the years they became as close as biological family to us. And they've always said what it was with them was the fact that whenever they first saw me, they first saw the film footage, they realized if it would have been them in that same place at that same time, that they would have been the targets. They would have been the outcasts. For Peter, it's more the fact that Peter hates bullies. He can't stand bullies. And he saw someone with no ability to defend themselves being picked on by the state, and he wanted to even the playing field.
I know that in your case, something called the Alfred plea was used as a way to really get you out of prison.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is and why it was used?
It's really rare, bizarre, and nonsensical. What an Alfred plea means is you're accepting a guilty plea and maintaining your innocence at the same time. The reason it exists is so that it sort of brings closure to a case and it prevents the state from being held responsible for what they've done. They don't have to compensate you in any sort of way or ever admit that they made a mistake. You know, people ask me, did I have a hard time accepting that, coming to terms with it, taking that plea? And the answer is no, because, you know, I've been in prison for almost 20 years. I was losing my eyesight. My health was deteriorating, degenerating rapidly. You know, on death row, there's almost no such thing as medical care and dental care. They're not going to spend a lot of time and money and energy taking care of someone they plan on killing. I was literally dying. I knew that if I did not take this deal, I was never going to live to see the outside of those walls.
So it was something you felt compelled to do. On the other hand, does it infuriate you that the people responsible for this miscarriage of justice will never be held accountable?
It does. Not one single person has been or will ever be held responsible. You know, people have built careers for themselves off of this case, and none of them will ever be brought to justice because of it.
Do you think that the authorities will ever find out? I really can't stand that Damon Eccles. That motherfucker, you can tell he's smart. He fucking helped. People say the celebrities helped get a satanic worshiper out that kills little kids. He did it. You can tell he did it. It's an lie. These celebrities, like fucking little kids, they all like using them for good or sex slaves, whatever they want. They get to do whatever they want because this. And they use this because they were attracted to these satanic murderers. That's what the West Memphis 3. If you look at what happened to these little boys, dude, I don't give a fuck if you're signing blood contracts with Aleister Crowley and Satan. Bitch, you did it. And then not only that, one of the little boys' willies was bitten off. And it wasn't by a turtle, it was by a human's mouth. These 3 boys did this to these little boys and got away with it because these celebrities pushed for them to get out of prison. No, they should have rot in hell is where they should have been. If you guys see Damon Eccles' fucking Instagram right now, it's nothing but about satanic worship and witchcraft. And all these years and every book he has put out is about witchcraft. So therefore, he fucking killed them kids and got away with it. But there's 2 other boys that got out of prison for killing them boys. And it's fucking sick that Johnny Depp and all these motherfuckers are just like that little bastard, smirking knowing what he did and got fucking away with it. He should have been put on death row and stayed on death row. He deserved what he got. He should have been fucking right between his eyeballs a bullet, is what what he needs. A fucking good old taken out to the woods and beat the fuck out of is what he needs. And I get so fucking sick of these fucking celebrities. They're fucking Hollywood weirdos. They're fucking disgusting. I can't even watch a brand new 2020 movie on my phone without every 5 minutes being fucking. If I want to watch Pornhub, I'll go to Pornhub. I don't want to sit and watch a porno every fucking 5 minutes on the television. Why do you think it's called television? It's a television program. They are programming you from the clothes you wear to the food you eat to what car you drive to the gas you buy. That's why I don't like watching TV. And not only that, why do you think they didn't want marijuana legal in Illinois or any other state? Because it breaks their MK Ultra mind control. The fucking, who the fuck allows the CIA to destroy every evidence they ever had on the experiments they did? Like, and the government gets away with this coronavirus, and that Trump even said himself that he'd use military force. I wish you would, bitch, because you ain't making this bitch pick a fucking microchip vaccine or a vaccine, period. You haven't seen retard or crazy yet. I don't give a fuck about no military. I will be dead before I get that vaccine. I don't give a fuck. Shoot me in my head. Use force. So everybody that isn't awoke will be awoke and know why do they gotta use the military to make everybody do a vaccine? If it's not harmful, why the fuck isn't Bill Clinton making his own fucking kids take the vaccine? What I want to know, why doesn't Dr. Oz make his kids take the vaccine? But yet they are all pushing this vax. Fuck you is what I say. I guarantee they better be blowing my brains out because I ain't fucking getting no vaccine. They can kiss my fat ass. And I used to like Johnny Depp until I found out how much of a sick creep he is. They all need to go back to hell where they came from. It's really what they are. You need to do. Because I don't even like watching TV. How it's predictive programming and programming you. There's nobody that needs to program me but me. No. I couldn't do that shit. That's why I don't like my husband watching fucking TV. Hell, it says in the Bible, he is the prince of the air. For the reason, airwaves, sound waves. Duh. He's got people controlled by the music to what's on the television. Satan is the god of this world. And I'm tired of being here. I want to go home. I'm tired of looking at Facebook and all I see that too, half-naked bitches. I get tired of looking at Instagram, me. How I don't care if you got a brand new fucking $50,000 house or a brand new $150,000 car. I guarantee them you got 6 mortgages out on that brand new house. Wouldn't doubt it if you ain't got about 5 loans on that fucking car. So people can fake a lifestyle. For sure. Anything's fakeable. You can make yourself look like the richest person on Instagram when you're fucking back hillbilly broke. Everything's fake. And everything's about show me. Who gives a fuck about you? I don't care about what you got or what I got versus what you got. It shouldn't be about that. But it is. This world is disgusting. And I'm ready to get the fuck out of it. I can't even get my husband to fucking pick up his pigsty in his room. And wonders why I start going off. Fucking, I need TLC hoarders to get a hold of me. I'm not playing. He would be on an episode. Not fucking playing. It's fucking disgusting. He won't get rid of nothing. But I do know once he sleeps or goes back dumpster diving little by little, the room will get spotless. If he ain't gonna do it, I will. I'm tired of talking about it. I've been talking to him blue in the face since the beginning of this year. Here it is, August? It's 7 months of a year. Yeah, I'm done talking for 7 months straight about my room being a fucking pig pen. It's fucking disgusting. I'm telling him, well, you're going to move your big old fucking pile of clothes and your dad's little fucking chest thing that he had when you were a kid to move the bed a certain way. Then for me to put all my clothes that are in book bags that have just been thrown beside my bed, just to stack up, I'm putting in my dresser. Instead of being lazy like him and having piles and piles and piles of clothes. It gets mentally straining. I'm telling you, I've slept 5 days out of a week before because how nasty he's got my room. And he wonders why I don't want to do nothing. Well, if there's no walkway, why would I want to get off the bed? It just makes me sick. And not only that fucking Damon or whatever his fucking name, Nichols, I'm gonna show you his Instagram, watch.
where the initial trial had reached its conclusion. I'll let you kind of take us from there and continue. And at the conclusion of those trials, Eccles was given a death sentence. Miss Kelly and Baldwin were given life sentences without the possibility of parole. Even the people who were at the original trials, who thought these guys were guilty, acknowledged and recognized that the case was very weak against the 3 defendants. So fast forward, we talked previously about the documentary film that had been made, that was being made in the months leading up to the trials and during the trials. In 1996, Paradise Lost was released by HBO, Joe Berlinger and Bruce Sinofsky, and when it's released, it starts literally an international furor. They started becoming known as the West Memphis Three. A lot of celebrities, Johnny Depp, Eddie Vedder, the lead singer for Pearl Jam, Natalie Maines, some of these high-powered, high-money people started pouring money into this case. They were able to hire better forensic experts, better everything. So fast forward to 2008 when I became involved in the case. So I get a call to, hey, can you cover, I was working as a journalist over at the Judge Wilson, and I was asked, hey, can you cover West Memphis 3 hearing? And what happened is at the end of the legal process, when you're trying to get when you're filing appeals, is they have what is called the Rule 37 hearings. And during these hearings, you are basically able to come in and say, I'm innocent based on this evidence. And so then the judge will make a determination as to whether the evidence is compelling enough to grant you a new trial. And so I went to a hearing. Dennis Reardon, Barry Bonds' Balco Steroids attorney, the guy that represented him in the Balco Steroids case, he was now representing Eccles. I talked to him for a little bit. The judge basically gagged the attorneys, and so I was riding in an elevator with Dennis. I'm like, are you going to talk? He goes, nope, I'm obeying the judge's orders in this. So that fall, the defense team brought in a bunch of high-powered forensic experts.
The question that some people want to say is, well, what was his alibi? What were you doing? Why would police come to you? What was your alibi?
I had an entire day mapped out at that time period. There were many people that saw me. At the time that the police say the murders took place, I was actually on the phone with 3 different people. The problem was the attorneys I had at the time, the public defenders, never even called them to the witness stand. Never even asked them about this kind of stuff. The time that they said the murders happened, I was on the phone with 3 different people. The attorneys that I had were so incompetent, it boggles the imagination. I asked them, why aren't you going to call these people up on the stand so that they can testify that they were on the phone with me? And they would say, we don't need them. The state's case is so weak and ridiculous as it is, there's no point in even wasting time on it.
And I asked you earlier, how do you keep sane in your cell on death row? But the fact is, before this trial, you spent time in a mental institution.
I did when I was younger for depression, and that was what led the cops initially to start focusing on me, is because there used to be this cop named Jerry Driver, who was like a juvenile officer, and I had run into him over and over and over again. And part of the reason is because he used to come through our neighborhood and pick up teenage boys and tell them, unless they gave him oral sex, he was going to take them to jail, press charges against them.
Driver was convinced that the murders were the work of Damien Eccles, and he told that to the police. Let's go back to 1993. Had you, that area, that Robin Hills area, was that an area that you were familiar with or had ever been in?
No.
To 1993. Had you, that area, that Robin Hills area, was that an area that you were familiar with or had ever been in?
No. It's actually, most people always call us the West Memphis Three, but we actually weren't from West Memphis. We were from a small town right outside of West Memphis called Marion, which almost no one knows where it is. And being that West Memphis is the closest thing to Marion, it's just sort of, people look at it as being almost the same place. And all of the dealings we had were with West Memphis Police Department. So West Memphis wasn't a place that I went to a great deal of time. I went to school in Marion, I lived in Marion, so I didn't really go to West Memphis a lot at all.
So where these murders took place, that was not an area?
Because that would have been a residential area, a wooded area close to a residential area. There weren't any, if I went to West Memphis, it would have been to do something like, say, go to Walmart, go to the grocery store, something like that. So it wouldn't have been in a residential area anyway. The police, the prosecutor, the judge, the jury, all of them got it wrong? In our opinion, yes. In our opinion, yes.
Defense attorneys claim the confessions were coerced.
He couldn't even get a single detail of the crime right. They were asking things like, well, what time did this happen? He says, 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, they knew that was a lie. They knew it wasn't true.
He says 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, they knew that was a lie. They knew it wasn't true because the kids were in school at 8 o'clock in the morning. They didn't care.
Both buyers, Michael Moore and Stevie Branch, were found naked and hogtied in a West Memphis ditch. Prosecutors say the murders were part of a satanic ritual.
You had nothing to do with any of that?
Absolutely nothing. Back when I first came into the prison, the guards, I guess they decided they were going to throw me a welcome to the neighborhood party, so they put a knife in my cell and carried me back to the part of the prison they called the hole, where for the next 3 weeks they beat me, they starved me, and they tortured me in just about every way you can torture a human being. They beat me so bad I pissed blood. One of the things they did is they messed up my teeth. They caused a lot of damage in my teeth. Well, in prison there are no root canals, there are no crowns, there are no caps. I was in more pain than most people can imagine. Imagine the absolute worst toothache you've ever had in your life, and then imagine it multiplied by 10, and then imagining it lasting for years. Well, there was nothing I could do. They told me, deal with the pain as long as you can, and then when you can't take it anymore, we'll pull your teeth out. Well, there was nothing I could do. They told me, deal with the pain as long as you can, and then when you can't take it anymore, we'll pull your teeth out. I didn't want to live with no teeth. I didn't want to have to come and face my family with no teeth because I was beaten by a bunch of prison guards. So I had to learn things like Reiki, Qigong, therapeutic touch, different types of meditation that allows you to deal with pain and physical illness and ailments. And
And this was in